here we are at Angel Island Zone. And who better to bring than the guardian of it, Knuckles the Echidna, famed for not particularly liking people being on his island. Like, just as a general thing, there's not a lot of things he does like on Angel Island. Robots, definitely not among them. So, Angel Island is my least favorite stage in the game. I do not like this zone at all. It was a huge pain to play through when I was younger. I mean, most things were, but Angel Island especially, and honestly, it still is. If you've noticed the level design thus far, maybe you've picked it up, maybe you haven't. It's a little easier to tell when you're actually playing, but this is the point of the game where the lack of screen real estate really starts becoming a problem. Like, man, the biggest issue with this game, I think, is the Game Boy Advance's tiny screen size. I have made that note a lot in the thread, not so much in the actual videos, but it really is a problem. You do not get to see much on screen at a time, and in Angel Island there are a whole lot of floating, disconnected platforms, and a whole lot of spikes, or enemies, or even bottomless pits just waiting for you off-screen, so oftentimes, if you don't react well to things, you're just going to be jumped by just about everything in the stage, honestly. This is the point where either Dimps did not realize just how little screen real estate there was on the Game Boy Advance, or actively used it, and are very spiteful developers. Honestly, part of me wants to lean towards the latter. Sometimes, I feel like Dimps develops out of spite. But yeah, this is the first stage where it's a huge problem. Like, there are probably pieces of other stages where it was an issue, but Angel Island especially, it makes sense. This is the floating island. Of course, there's a lot of floating platforms. I'm just saying, it's a pain to actually keep track where everything is. You will probably lose a few lives just testing the waters in what's going on. I guess best tip I have for the stage is try to stay on the upper path. I mean, typically that is good advice in a Sonic game. Typically the upper paths are safer but harder to stay on, just as a general thing. But it's especially true here, because as long as you're high up, you probably won't fall in a pit. Maybe. No guarantees. Like right there, I was probably terrified I was going to fall into a pit anyway. Although, to be fair, I do have a map up, so I can be ready for the special stages, so I probably knew there was something there. Probably. Anyway, beginning of this stage sucks, if you're impatient. These clouds are bouncy. Don't just spin dash forward at the start of the stage, or you will probably miss those cloud platforms and fall into the pit. It's not a particularly difficult platforming section, but I just have bad memories of that one when I was younger because, you know, I was that impatient. Here's a section where Tails would help immensely because being able to just fly around this whole thing would be kind of nice. It is a very claustrophobic little area, just not a lot of room to move in that corridor. But hey, if you go left here, you get a speed shoes, yay. Just avoid the spike platforms. I've not talked much about the look or the music of the stage. I don't like the colors of it. It's a very muted stage. I mean, I guess I'll take looking at it over Casino Paradise, but I would prefer a little more color. I prefer the lush look of Angel Island from Sonic 3. Like, that is a gorgeous stage. This one looks a little bit washed out, but I will say, the sense of scale here is fantastic. I mean, look at that background. Even if it's not my favorite colors, dang, that just looks real nice. I like what they do with the clouds as well in the background, that's neat. Not the clouds as platforms, those suck and I don't like them. Again, No real problem with them anymore, but there's just leftover disdain for them from childhood. Don't like this wall, though. This wall is boring. Bring back the background. But anyway, yeah, seriously. Music-wise, again, as a holdover from playing this game as a kid, I didn't particularly like this song. I thought it was a bit dull, but you know what? It's an okay song. Still not one of my favorites, but it's okay. It is thoroughly alright now that I don't associate it with constant failure. Alright, second to last Emerald stage, which means this one's going to be pulling out all the stops. Or most of them. There's still one more stage for them to pull out further stops. Oh boy. Oh yeah, and these aren't even gold barriers, you just need to do tricks to get these rings. Though this section isn't too bad in of itself, I'm trying to think of if there's any particularly bad bits, but I'm gonna be honest. Like I said before, each stage blends together a little bit. They're a bit samey, it's just they look similar enough that it's hard to remember them. They do have very different layouts, sure, but it's not easy for the human brain to remember that. They're not distinct, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Where's our falling chow? That falling chow always amuses me. Oh yeah, this one's pretty sparse with rings, isn't it? There it is. Anyway, this one's pretty sparse with rings, isn't it? It's just doubled the previous ring amount, and we got a decent amount over that in the first half. And I think I should have plenty for the second. Yeah, there we go, over 180. Of course, that section kind of makes me nervous, so if you're at this point, you might as well just avoid doing rings, just in case there are bombs nearby. Like, once you pass the goal in the second half of the stage, just play for safety. Don't be like me and try to style on the stage. There's no reason to. Also, I always think that Knuckles is gonna, like, toss the emerald up and down, even though that would be a supremely bad idea on a plane. I mean, he could throw it a little bit forward. You know, you could juggle that Chaos Emerald while riding the tornado. It's not impossible, it's just a very bad idea. Anyway, we should be just about done with Angel Island, which is good because I don't really have much more to say about it. It is pretty hard. In fact, even the boss is pretty difficult. I definitely had a hard time no-hitting this guy, because guess what? It's Knuckles. But wait, we're playing as Knuckles. Knuckles isn't fooled by this fake Knuckles. Those are clearly the wrong boxing gloves, and oh dear, I've already lost my shield. So yeah, Knuckles kind of fights like he does in Sonic 3, but he is way more active. It's very easy to accidentally run into him. Also, he's a robot, and he will puke missiles at you. He can do a lot of missile volleys, so be very careful. That is a very big attack, and it can hit you very easily, especially when he does more than one. When he does more than one, hoo boy, look out. Speaking of looking out, whatcha! He did it! Knuckles finally avoided the capsule. Character development, baby. Anyway, next time on Sonic Advance, the final stage. I know, already. It all flies by so quickly.